This is the story of Theobroma cacao, literally food of the gods, a bean that conquered the world. Cacao, the source of chocolate that went from sacred currency to global commodity worth $127 billion. For over 5,300 years, this single plant sparked empires, fueled exploration, triggered industrial revolutions, and today sits at the center of a crisis that threatens everything we know about chocolate. The journey begins in the upper Amazon rainforest of Ecuador, where in 2018, archaeologists made a discovery that rewrote chocolate history. At the Santa Ana La Florida site, they found cacao starch grains, theobromine residues, and ancient DNA dating back 5,300 years, the earliest evidence of humans cultivating this remarkable plant. These earliest cultivated varieties, including the prized Criollo cacao subspecies known for its delicate flavor, emerged from wild Trinitario and Forastero genetic lineages. But while cacao originated in South America, it was the civilizations of Mesoamerica who transformed it from wild fruit into liquid gold. By 1900 BCE, the Mocayan people along Mexico's Pacific coast were already consuming bitter, frothy cacao drinks. The Olmec civilization, flourishing between 1500 and 400 BCE, elevated cacao to divine status. They gave this plant geological, nutritional, spiritual, and economic significance that echoed through millennia. The very word cacao comes from their term cacawa, pronounced much the same way we say it today. The Maya took cacao worship to extraordinary heights. By 600 BCE, chocolate consumption was deeply embedded in Maya culture. They believed the gods themselves had given them this gift, and the preparation ritual was sacred. The Popol Vuh, their sacred creation text, describes how the gods fashioned humans from maize and blessed them with cacao. Early records reveal that Maya brides had to prove their worth by making cacao properly, specifically by creating the perfect froth. The foam was thought to contain the essence of the wind god Pi, and even today, in some traditional communities, a woman's ability to create proper chocolate foam remains a measure of her skill. This traditional preparation required careful fermentation, the crucial biochemical transformation that develops chocolate flavor, before grinding and mixing with sacred waters. But cacao wasn't just ceremonial, it was money. By 400 BCE, cacao beans served as currency throughout Mesoamerica. The exchange rates were precisely documented. 1 bean bought a large tomato, 30 beans could purchase a rabbit, and for those with serious purchasing power, 200 beans bought an entire turkey. The system was so valuable that counterfeiting became common. Clever criminals would hollow out cacao beans and refill them with sand or clay, creating the world's first chocolate fraud. The Aztecs inherited this cacao obsession and amplified it. When Spanish conquistador Hernán Cortés arrived in 1519, Aztec Emperor Moctezuma II introduced him to chocolatl, a bitter, spiced drink reserved for nobility and warriors. The Aztecs believed cacao was a gift from the feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl, and the beans held profound spiritual significance. In their most solemn rituals, cacao beans symbolized human hearts removed in sacrifice, both thought to be repositories of precious life essence. The tribute regions of Xoconochco, along what is now Mexico's Pacific coast, supplied the empire with thousands of pounds of precious cacao annually. The Spanish conquistadors initially didn't understand what they'd encountered. In one famous incident from 1579, English pirates captured what they thought was a Spanish treasure ship, only to find it loaded with cacao beans. Mistaking them for dried sheep droppings, the frustrated pirates burned the entire vessel, destroying a fortune in the process. But Spain quickly recognized cacao's value. By 1545, Spanish records documented the bean's purchasing power, and by 1580, Spanish colonial cocoa plantations had become sources of considerable wealth. Spain guarded the secret of cacao processing jealously, restricting production to monks hidden away in monasteries. This chocolate monopoly lasted nearly a century. The secret couldn't stay hidden forever. In 1615, cacao reached France when Anna Maria Mauritia, daughter of Spanish King Philip III, married Louis XIII and brought her chocolate drinking habits with her. By the mid-1600s, chocolate houses had emerged in France and England as exclusive social hubs for the wealthy. These establishments rivaled coffee houses as centers of political discussion and business dealing. The transformation from exclusive luxury to widespread treat required technological innovation. In 1815, Dutch chemist Conrad Johannes van Houten invented the hydraulic cocoa press, revolutionizing chocolate production. By 1828, he had perfected the process, separating cocoa solids from cocoa butter and creating more stable, workable cocoa powder. This innovation, known as Dutch processing, removed much of the natural bitterness and made chocolate more palatable to European tastes. Alternative methods like the Broma process also emerged, offering different approaches to cocoa treatment. The next breakthrough came in 1847 when English chocolate maker Joseph Fry used Van Houten's press technology to create something entirely new, the first solid chocolate bar. By mixing cocoa butter back into cocoa solids, Fry transformed chocolate from a drink into a snack. This single innovation changed everything. Switzerland became the epicenter of chocolate innovation. In 1867, chemist Henri Nestlé discovered how to create powdered milk through evaporation. Daniel Peters seized on this development and in 1875 created the world's first milk chocolate bar, combining Nestlé's milk powder with cocoa to produce a smoother, sweeter product that appealed to broader tastes. But the most significant innovation came in 1879 when Rudolf Lindt invented the conche, a machine that ground cocoa particles incredibly fine while distributing cocoa butter evenly throughout the mixture. Legend says Lindt's discovery was accidental. He supposedly left his grinding machine running over a weekend and returned to find chocolate with an unprecedented, smooth texture and consistent flavor. Whether accident or intention, conching gave chocolate the silky quality we associate with fine chocolate today. As chocolate conquered European palates, cacao cultivation spread globally. The first successful transplantation to Africa occurred in 1822 on the island of São Tomé. From there, cacao reached Ghana in 1879, beginning West Africa's dominance of global production that continues today. The 20th century brought mass production and global brands. Companies like Nestlé, Cadbury, Hershey, and Mars transformed chocolate from artisanal luxury to everyday commodity. But this industrial transformation came with dark consequences that persist today. Currently, 4 West African countries, Côte d'Ivoire, Ghana, Nigeria, and Cameroon, produce 70% of the world's cocoa. Côte d'Ivoire alone accounts for 42% of global supply, producing over 2.3 million tons annually. This concentration created enormous power imbalances in the chocolate supply chain. The statistics are staggering and disturbing. During the 2018-2019 growing season, research commissioned by the U.S. Department of Labor found 1.48 million children engaged in hazardous work on cocoa farms, representing 43% of all children in cocoa-growing households. They work with sharp tools, handle agricultural chemicals, and carry heavy loads in conditions that would be illegal in developed nations. Meanwhile, the farmers who grow our chocolate live in extreme poverty. In Côte d'Ivoire, farmers earn an estimated 78 cents per day. In Ghana, it's $1 per day, both far below the World Bank's extreme poverty line of $2.15. The 2025 Cocoa Barometer found that only 16% of farmers earn enough to meet basic needs. During the 1970s, cocoa farmers received 50% of the value of a chocolate bar. Today, that figure plummeted to just 6%. In 2001, major chocolate companies signed the Harkin-Engel Protocol, pledging to eliminate the worst forms of child labor by 2005. That deadline was extended repeatedly, first to 2008, then 2010, then 2020, and now to 2025. Critics argue the industry prioritizes public relations over genuine reform. As Representative Elliot Engel, who co-sponsored the original protocol, observed, "The industry and others want to do the minimum amount they can get away with because it's a pain in the neck to them. Some companies like Tony's Chalk and Lee have made addressing child labor central to their business model, while fair trade certification programs attempt to establish minimum pricing standards for farmers. The situation became even more complex with climate change. Rising temperatures added about 40 days per year, above 90 degrees Fahrenheit, to cacao-growing regions in West Africa. Extreme weather events became more frequent and severe, causing cocoa production to plummet by as much as 40% over the last 3 years. The cacao trees also face increasing threats from Phytophthora black pod rot and cocoa swollen shoot virus disease, plant pathogens that have devastated West African farms. Climate stress makes trees more susceptible to these and other diseases, creating a perfect storm of production challenges. The crisis reached a breaking point in 2024. According to the International Cocoa Organization, cocoa prices, which had remained relatively stable for decades, suddenly skyrocketed from about $2,500 per metric ton to over $12,000, a staggering 300% increase. The spike followed years of shrinking harvests caused by excessive rainfall from April to June 2023, followed by harsh drought from November 2024 through February 2024. The market response was dramatic. Chocolate prices rose 18% across the European Union in 2025, the highest increase of any food item. Some chocolate manufacturers were forced to reformulate products or drop the word chocolate from packaging entirely when cocoa content fell below legal thresholds. But amid this crisis, there are signs of hope and innovation. Both Ghana and Côte d'Ivoire implemented significant farm gate price increases. Ghana raised prices by 60% in August 2025, followed by another 12% increase in October. These moves represent attempts to ensure farmers benefit from high cocoa prices rather than seeing profits absorbed by middlemen. The industry is also exploring technological solutions. In 2017, Barry Callebaut invented ruby chocolate, an entirely new variety with a distinctive pink color and berry flavor, created through specific processing of cacao beans. Companies are investing in agricultural research to develop disease-resistant cacao varieties and sustainable farming practices. Scientific research continues revealing chocolate's health benefits. Cacao contains higher levels of antioxidants than green tea, black tea, or red wine. The epicatechin content provides cardiovascular benefits, and recent studies suggest people who consume about 1 ounce of dark chocolate daily have a 21% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. These health revelations connect us back to chocolate's ancient roots. Between the 16th and 20th centuries, over 100 medical uses for cacao were documented. The scientific name Theobroma cacao, given by Carl Linnaeus in 1753, literally means food of the gods, reflecting beliefs about chocolate's divine properties that stretch back to the Maya and Aztec civilizations. Today's global chocolate market, worth $127 billion and projected to reach $184.07 billion by 2033, supports the livelihoods of an estimated 50 million people worldwide. Yet the industry stands at a crossroads. Climate change, labor abuses, farmer poverty, and supply chain disruptions threaten the future of chocolate as we know it. The solutions require unprecedented cooperation between governments, companies, and consumers. New frameworks for addressing child labor are being developed through partnerships between industry groups, West African governments, and international organizations. Companies are investing in direct trade relationships with farmers, premium pricing for sustainable practices, and agricultural innovation. Some chocolate makers are returning to cacao's artisanal roots, creating single-origin products that highlight specific regions and farming communities. This craft chocolate movement emphasizes transparency, fair pricing, and quality over quantity, echoing the reverence ancient Mesoamerican civilizations showed for cacao. The story of cacao reflects humanity's complex relationship with the natural world. This single plant species has been currency and commodity, sacred symbol, and industrial input, luxury, and necessity. From the Amazon rainforest where it originated to the processing facilities where it becomes chocolate, cacao-shaped cultures drove exploration, sparked innovation, and today challenges us to create more equitable and sustainable food systems. As we face chocolate's uncertain future, we might remember the Maya belief that proper chocolate required patience, skill, and respect for the divine gift of cacao. Perhaps solving today's chocolate crisis requires returning to that reverence, treating cacao not merely as a commodity to be exploited, but as a precious resource deserving careful stewardship. The bean that conquered the world now asks us a fundamental question. Can we conquer our own appetites long enough to ensure chocolate's survival for future generations? The answer may determine whether chocolate remains humanity's sweetest pleasure or becomes our bitterest regret.